Howdy, I'm Derek, and in this video, we're going to do a brief demo of the XLEV8 PowerPoint Add-in. Now, this is really similar to the Excel add-in in that it's going to save you time by offering you shortcuts, doing things in bulk, and letting you reuse your efforts over and over again. Now, even though this is in PowerPoint, we're going to use the edit mode of PowerPoint rather than the slideshow mode because, well, that's where this is going to have a lot of impact. So here we go. First thing we're going to do is kind of a navigation tour how you can run the macros and tools that are built into this. The first way is to use the ribbon menu. So if you go up to the ribbon, the XLEV8 tab will be in there, and you're going to see several different menus in different sections, and these are going to have different macros within them that you can run. But that's one of the slowest ways to do this. Now, if you are a mouse fan, you can set your own up to 20 of the buttons here, and you can see what the keyboard shortcuts are. It tells you this in the brackets. You can set everything below the top one here to whatever you want. So if you're a mouse person, that's a shortcut that you can enable. But even better is the ability to use keyboard shortcuts. Now I'm going to use one real quick just to give you an example. I clicked Control-Shift-C, and that's going to give you the copy special menu. We'll look at this one more in depth in a minute. This one is going to fire based on an integration with Auto Hotkey. So you're going to need to install that first. It's a free open source download that does a lot of incredible things. If you don't want that, you can also add these to your QAT, and they show up here at the top. So the first 10 of those are mapped to shortcuts Alt-1 through Alt-0. The third way is to use the autocomplete search box. We're going to look at that in depth in just a moment, but that is basically the mother of all shortcuts because it lets you run anything in the add-in as well as many other items, search them very quickly with suggestions. So a lot of different ways to run this. I would recommend the things used the most, keyboard shortcuts. Everything else, use a search box. The ribbon, just up there to maybe be pretty, remind you that you've installed it. So the first thing we'll look at here is the global search box. Now, I'm going to run this in just a moment, but before we do that, here's what you're going to see. You can run macros. You can find and embed or insert your favorite shapes. You can easily search for recent files or really any files since you once you install the add-in, it's going to track those for you. Jump to a particular slide or a shape within the active file. All these things can be done in one search box. And the default shortcut for this is Control-Shift-W. So once you run that, if you wanted to run a macro or something related to notes, notice I typed the word note, and if you press the arrow down key, you'll see there's a macro, there's another one, there's a couple of files that I've used in the past. So it's going to change the details around this just based on that. Okay, you can favorite these. You can set keyboard shortcuts like right here and unset them, or set that UI in the ribbon if you wanted to. So this is a great way to run those. Another thing that you can do, notice if you type that prefix there, so FS being favorite shape, it's going to give you a preview off to the side. So this is one I tested with. There's another. There's an icon I like to use. There's a logo. There's a QR. So any of those favorite tables, images, other shapes that you might be using, you want to reuse. You've done all that formatting, reuse that. That is a great way to save some time. And then similarly with recent file slides and shapes. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is a picker. There's several of these. They basically bring a lot of functionality that is native to PowerPoint and beyond into one pick list. So in this example, I'm going to press Control-Shift-C again, and it brings up the picker where you can copy the raw text from a shape, the formats, which you can then apply separately, the size and position of a shape, which is huge. I use that probably every day. Slide, shape, innovation, even the full path of your file, like the active file that you have. You can even copy that entire presentation to the clipboard and then paste it in an email or some file or folder or something else. Okay, so all those things can be done. Now this works really well in conjunction with the paste special picker that does a lot of similar things, and you can even add your own custom items that can be pasted very quickly, basically text. This one is Control-Shift-V by default. Okay, so just paste regular, that'd be A, or in this case, I run that size and position from the copy one all the time, so B here is what will paste, the size, position, the layering, transparency, etc. We'll look at all those things in just a moment. Those can be done. Now with all these pickers, the default can be set. So if you're going to do something over and over and over again, you can reset which of these items is going to show up by default here. It'll be highlighted, so all you have to do is press enter. Run it, press enter, and that's it. And the reason I started making these, just like in Excel, is because with the Alt shortcuts, I'd get lost. My ADD would kick in and I'd start forgetting what things were, but I found if I could just trim that string a little bit, it was a lot easier. So what we're going to do is an example of this one. I'm going to take a screenshot of this picker box, okay? Now let's say, I'm going to paste it over here. Let's say I want it to look just like this one, the exact size, shape, position, all that. I'm going to run the copy one and use Option S for size and position. And then over here, I'm going to apply that to this shape with Option B. That's the default one I have. And notice it does all of those things at one time. Okay, now if you have a whole lot of shapes and you want to make sure the layering is right, that is also done for you. This saves me a tremendous amount of time. Another one to look at is the shape alignment picker. So what this lets you do is take an item or multiple items and either distribute them, align them, etc. I use this a lot, especially with titles. So let's say we wanted to use this one. Control-Shift-E is the default. Let's just say we want to align it left, or we wanted to align it right, or fix it and put it back in the center. Do that very quickly without needing to use the ribbon. Okay, alignment is a big thing, so we can use that very quickly. And let's say you want to distribute them, get them in a line, up and down, or left and right, etc. You can do that. So getting all these little icons and text right here on the left lined up, use this one when I made this slide. Similarly, if you wanted to use this to make an outline, the shape outline picker is available. So the size, the style, and you can even have your custom ones. We're going to come over here and apply this to the one we pasted with Control-Shift-O being the default. You can either use some of the shortcodes here, or if you have an outline to a shape you really, really like, you can save it using the instructions down here at the bottom, and then it's available. So all you have to know is what label you assign to it. So in this case, 2 is my default because I'm almost always using that kind of thick black, or you can make it dashed or dotted if you wanted to in pink. Whatever you have applied, you can then reuse over and over again. So that is the shape outline picker. Now the next thing that we're going to do is a little bit different than a shortcut. It's a really good shortcut if you ask me. I do a lot of presentations, and the notes are absolutely crucial. So what I like to do is take those notes out of PowerPoint and use them a little bit differently than just kind of the speaker mode, because that's often maybe a separate window and I might not be able to see that if I only have one screen. So there's several ways that we can export notes. One is thumbnails, like you're seeing in a screenshot. Another is to just export them to Excel as a list, or put them in a cell comments along with kind of what slide it is. You can put them in Word, or you can create a copy of your presentation and remove the notes if you're going to send that to maybe somebody else externally. So I want to run this one and show you what this looks like over here with this screenshot. I'm going to export notes and use Option P here. That's the default. And so very quickly, what it does is it takes a picture of each of these slides. It's going to make a thumbnail out of that, and it's going to put the notes in a format just like you're seeing right here. Okay, it takes a few seconds to run if you have a whole bunch of slides, because there's a lot that it's doing. It's aligning everything, it's creating the slides, the thumbnails, aligning up all the notes and everything. But at the end of the day, what I found really helpful is this puts several of the slides on one page. You can print that out front and back if you want. It's going to look a lot like what you're seeing right here. Right, so you can print that out and use that instead of having the speaker notes or anything else. I found that to be a really helpful one, and save that as a PDF file or a separate PowerPoint, etc. The slide action picker is another one that I find really helpful. So this one is Control-Shift-N. If you wanted to navigate slides, if you want to go up, down, move it around, hide, unhide, there's a lot of separate options here that are super helpful. Select to the very end. Maybe you want to copy those to another deck or something else. A lot of options there. The select picker brings several things together from selecting items. So Control-Shift-S is the default here. If you want to toggle the selection pane, okay, see what all the different items are and where they are in the stacking. Or if you wanted to select them all, or select all the ones that have text or tables or pictures, or maybe you want to group a bunch of them or ungroup them, right? Or maybe you want to select all the ones that contain a name. I'm big on naming these things because just the defaults over here, it's not terribly descriptive. So this will work with that. The shape action picture is kind of similar to the slide one. This is going to help you do things with shapes. You want to insert one or remove one or duplicate one or rename it. Again, big on naming. So if you were to select something and run this with Control-Shift-H being the default, again, you can change that. Notice rename it knows what the name of that slide is, or that shape, sorry, over here to the right. You can rename that. All right, so all the things that you're seeing here, they're very contextual. The picker picture. This is another one that I'm using a lot lately. I've got a lot of pictures, especially with the favorite shapes one. Control-Shift-P will run this, where you can insert, you can replace a picture. If it's an icon, you can add an eye. So as an example, if I'm over here and I don't really like that icon, I can run this and press, make sure you can see it. RI, it will go to the replace icon screen. So you can quickly go to that without having to use the ribbon in all the pictures and then pick the one that you want to replace with it, right? Or if we want to resize it, or if we want to crop it or set the transparency, etc. All those are options in one menu. Spotlighting is another thing that I do quite a bit. So you're seeing kind of the effect that I use this for. Without this, okay, let me kind of hide the items that over here that you wouldn't have. So let's say you have a shape like this and you want to focus the audience's attention. Well, you would just create a shape. Usually that would be a rectangle, something kind of like this, okay? And when you run it, it's going to end up adding a faded background, okay, very much like this, and it's going to use a cutout. And the idea is that you use the shape that you had, give it an outline, so it makes it very obvious what you're trying to focus the audience's attention on. And this can do that in one step. If you set it up, add the shape overlay, and then you can give it whatever outline color you want. Another one that has been really helpful is adding formatted page numbers. So you're kind of seeing this here at the very bottom right. The idea is here that you insert one, format it to your liking with the colors, with the outline, with the font, all that stuff, and then run it again to format the other ones, okay? To apply them for every single one of your visible slides and then format that. And if you ever need to refresh it, that's an option as well. So just to kind of give you an example of that, I'm just going to search for page, okay? You can insert one, it'll be very basic, then you format it, and you can insert all of them. You can also remove them all and then refresh them if you wanted to. Okay, so it makes it very quick to do that. And then one of the last ones that I'm going to use here is something I've used quite a bit, creating a slide table of contents. So if you have a lot of slides, maybe you're making an ebook and it's something that's designed to be taken away as a PDF, this will add a lot of great indexing and hyperlinking to it. So whatever slides that you select when you run this, so let's give an example here. Slide table of contents. So whatever you have, so I've got 16 through 32 based on what slide you have selected. It's going to suggest a range that you want to use to create a table of contents. I'm going to cancel that out. We don't want to create anything here. But it's going to create it. I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like with when it's already been made. So I've got another file here. This is one of the things you can download when you sign up for the newsletter on my website. Lots of Excel tips. But I needed a way to create an index. So here's the first one. I wanted an easy way to jump either back or to the index, or maybe you want to go to a specific page, back to the index. These take a lot of time to make because I did it manually before I made this macro, right? But using this, it'll create the index pages. It'll only put so many so they're, doesn't get too cluttered. And it'll also add at the bottom there, those back, index, and next links to all the slides that were indexed to. So it saves a lot of time in doing that, really gives it a nice polished look for something that's a takeaway for the people you're speaking to. So a lot of great stuff here. How do you install this? Well, you need a license for the XLEV8 add-in. The best part about this one is right now, currently, this is free when you download the Excel one. Now that could change at some point, but for now, it's included. They work really well together. There's so many things in the Excel one that can automate updates in PowerPoint, so especially the bulk things. So register for your license at XLEV8.co. Go over to the XLEV8 add-in. That will, when you get your license, it will let you download and extract a zip file. There's an Open Me First file that will install them for you, and then you follow the instructions on there. And then you save a lot of time. Now, both the Excel one and the PowerPoint one will come with a cheat sheet that show you some of the very key things, many I went through in this demonstration, including shortcuts and search terms and basically what they do, etc. Okay? So is as easy as that. Save a lot of time with a lot of the little frustrating things that take a lot of time within PowerPoint, and of course Excel as well. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, comment on what you liked. Share with a friend. You can also subscribe. I share a lot of great tools, tips, and tricks in Excel and beyond throughout the XLEV8 YouTube channel. And of course, try this out for yourself with a 30-day trial that will include Excel and PowerPoint. You can do that by following the instructions from just a moment ago. Thank you so much for watching. Have an excellent rest of your day.